Hey everyone, Mirai here, and welcome to part 3 of this multiboxing gameplay video guide. In the last video, I went over a handful of useful mapped keys that the ISBoxer wizard sets up for you by default. And in this one, I'm going to be covering some tips on how to make questing a bit easier. So, when you're busy leveling up your characters, you're most likely going to be doing a quest at some point, whether it's in the outside world, in a dungeon, or wherever else. Quest systems that are in place vary from game to game, but there are typically 3 major types of quests that you're going to run into. First, you've got your kill quests, where, you guessed it, you are tasked with heading out into the wilderness and killing a set amount of something or other. These are pretty much a multi-boxer's dream because you've got the firepower to kill quickly and the credit is awarded to the entire party. There's really not much else to say about these types of quests. Next, you've got your mob collection quests, where you're killing enemies and waiting for them to drop something that you would then remove from their warm corpse. Each game handles these a bit differently, but some games allow the drops to be looted by the entire party all at once, and other games make it so that each character needs their own individual drop in order to get credit. And sometimes these quests have a 100% drop rate, and other times they do not. So just be aware of all these small differences. In World of Warcraft, most of these types of collection quests do have a 100% drop rate. And the way that I approach these quests is, once the enemy is dead, and I see that there is a quest drop to be looted, I first make sure that I've got the enemy corpse targeted. I then hit my assist key, I press my interact with target hotkey, and my other characters then loot the body as well. And you can see what they're looting in the lower left chat log. Now, if for some reason you're not showing party loot information in your chat window, the game's default tooltip also shows both collection and kill quest progression for each member of the party. As for interacting with a mob's corpse, just know that it may take a few presses of the interact key because not every character can loot the same item off of the corpse at the same time. So they all have to take turns looting, and this can require multiple presses of your interact key. Unfortunately, if your game doesn't have an interact command, then you're kind of out of luck and you're probably going to have to continuously swap around windows in order to check the dead bodies for loot. That's just the way it is sometimes. And finally, there are the ground collection quests where you have to loot objects in the actual world. And there are a few ways that I personally like to approach these. If I'm in the mood where I only want to play or lead from a single character, then I leave the quest active on that character so that I can see where the quest objects are in the world. And this way, I can approach the object, switch windows, loot it on that character, and switch back to my lead character to continue looking for more. Now, because ISBoxer's Quick Setup Wizard typically creates character sets which allow you to lead from any character in your party, this means that I can also drive from whomever I want to and do the quest on each character one at a time. There's even a third option that I use from time to time when picking up certain quest items that are able to be interacted with by the entire party all at once, and that's the turn on mouse repeater, make sure your cameras are fairly lined up, and then just interact with the object with the entire party at the same time. You can, of course, just quickly swap to each character and interact with quest objects if your cameras aren't lined up correctly. Now, when you're out in the world and you're questing, it's likely that you're either going to miss picking up a quest or miss picking up an item that you need for a quest. And you're not going to notice it until you're either out in the world ready to start that quest or back in town turning everything in. So I would suggest falling into the habit of doing what I like to call quick scans of your quest log or quest tracker across your characters from time to time. What I mean by this is, if you focus directly on the quest tracker and flip between your windows one at a time, it's easy to notice if something doesn't look right. You can see here that I forgot to pick up the null orders on this one character, so now I have to go back and grab that. While it's frustrating to miss things like this, it's obviously better to catch them sooner than later, because I might have been pissed if I went back to turn these quests in and that one character couldn't. Now, if you didn't know, in World of Warcraft, you can look at your quest log and see how many party members are on the same quests as you are. So if I'm running a party of 5 and I open up my quest log, I should see a 4 next to each of my quests, which indicates that the other 4 party members are also on those same quests. This is just an easy way to make sure that everyone has everything they need before leaving the quest hub. Now, one final nuance that I would like to talk about is escort type quests, specifically in World of Warcraft. These can be very annoying quests to deal with if you don't know how to deal with them, because normally you would bring up the NPC's dialogue pane and just accept the quest on every character, right? Well, with escort type quests, the character who accepts the quest first, as per the game server, is the only one who will get credit at the end. And you won't know this until you finish the quest and all of your characters but one fail it, and you're left wondering, where did I go wrong? What just happened? You went wrong the moment you tried to accept the quest on all characters at the same time, but it's not blatantly obvious that that's the problem. The trick is you need to start the quest on only one character, and then every other character in your party will get a pop-up message asking if they want to join in on the same quest. This is where you turn on repeater and accept on the rest of your party. This way everyone gets credit at the end. Now, this only happens on these escort type quests, and there isn't always an obvious indicator that a quest falls into this category. I keep saying escort type because it's not only escort quests where this is an issue, but it's typically any quest where the purpose of it is to guard an NPC from danger. There aren't many of these throughout the game, but I figured it would be helpful to clue everyone in on how these work because they can be incredibly frustrating if you don't understand how to properly deal with them when you first encounter them. Alright, I think that covers the general basics of questing while multiboxing. In the next video, I'm going to be covering a handful of other miscellaneous tips that deal with general multiboxing. Just some nice to know information. Thanks for watching, guys. Mirai out.